Uh, Another example was Jonathan. I met him also on the subway. So he's actually a manager in Cineplex. So when I asked him what he did, he said, "Yeah, he's a manager in Cineplex." I'm like, "Wow, that must be crazy work timings. Do you also have to work Saturdays, Sundays, and late nights? It must be really grueling." He said, "No, he doesn't have to work, but he does like the profession, but he's planning to move out from the profession." So I asked him why. He said, "No, 5 years he's been working and he's had enough of it, and he doesn't like the profession that much anymore. He wants to move out." I'm like, "Yeah, that seems interesting." And then I said, "Even I kind of feel the same way where I'm working." He's like, "Oh, really? What are you doing?" So I said, "Yeah, I'm in the same line. I'm an electrical engineer, but I'm moving into entrepreneurship with the help of someone really successful, and that is my goal in the next 5 years." And he said, "Okay, that's interesting, good for you." Then I asked him, "What about you? What are your long-term goals?" He said he doesn't really know. He knows that he wants to move out of his profession, but he doesn't know what he wants to do. And then I told him, "You know what? I was also in a similar situation as you, but I met this couple who changed the way they made money, and they were able to walk out from their jobs in their 30s. So in this case, I had to do a little bit more hard work um, to bring it out."
What? Continue, continue.
Yeah. And then I asked him, "So have you met anyone like that?" He's like, "No, apart from, the Facebook and people like who started YouTube, he hasn't met anyone, who was able to move out from the profession." I said, "Yeah, that's the same thing with me." And I told him, I had three main challenges. One was lack of capital, one was didn't have the guts to quit my job, and the last one, I didn't have like a idea that would change the world. But when I met this couple, I realized that um, it was still possible to you know get a passive income source without disturbing my job. And that's when I asked them if they could coach me. And yeah, I've been learning from them since the last few months. So then he asked me, "What is it that they're doing?" I said, "That's a really good question, but why do you ask? Are you also looking to do something? Are you just curious?" He said, "A bit of both." So I said, "You know what? I was also in the same situation as you, but I realized that until I start, you know, doing something, until I get into doing something, I don't realize actually how it works." Um, and I told him, my mentor, uh, he likes to coach young, ambitious people to entrepreneurship, but he doesn't charge for his mentorship. So he has a strict qualification process. And but every now and again, he opens the door. If you had the chance for someone really successful to coach you, would you be able to take advantage of it? He said, "Yeah, for sure, I would love to." And then I told him, "Okay, I cannot guarantee anything as such. The best thing I can do is talk to my mentor and get back to you."
Very good. Tell another one.
Uh, they're all like this, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, repeat one more completely where you could do the DTM properly.
Mm,
Also tell one where DTM didn't happen.
Yeah. Tell one where DTM
so
didn't happen and tell one more where DTM happened one more.
so just today I met this guy. So I asked him, "Hey, where did you get your shoes from?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I got this actually at Aldo or a store like that." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm actually also looking for casual shoes, which are light and have a good cushion, but I don't want to pay too much like a Nike or Adidas." He said, "Yeah, these are Skechers, but they are like a similar price." I said, "Yeah, these days shoes are really expensive," and I laughed, and he laughed as well. And then I said, "So what do you do?" He said he's working. He's in internship as a dentist. So he has just finished 5 years of whatever education in dentistry, 4 years, sorry. and now he's in internship. But he's also started like an idea, like an entrepreneurship idea about uh, delivery of things from Canada to China very quickly within a day, but at a very low cost compared to the competitors. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And about things like that, like about his business. And I told him, you know what, I'm also doing something similar. I'm an electrical engineer, but uh, I'm also moving into entrepreneurship with the help of someone really successful. And that is my goal in the next 5 years. And he said, yeah, that's the way to go. And entrepreneurship is the best thing to do. I said, yes, that's true. And there are many ways we can make money, but the way I make money is passive income. Uh, that's why I have actually gotten started, and I'm taking help from this coach over here because he's going to help me create an asset so that I don't have to work for that income again and again. But he seemed more focused on what he was doing. He said that it's going to change the world, and it's a really really good idea, and he's expanding really quickly. So I was like, okay, that's impressive. So I did not proceed with um after Masawa. But then I told him, you know what, my after he explained his idea, obviously it was polite for me to give him a small background. So I said, I run a virtual online store, and we specialize in products in healthcare, skincare, and FMCG. And then I got to know that he was really into skincare, and he used to spend a lot of money on skincare. And then he showed me photos of his bathroom sink where he had a whole bunch of skincare. So I told him, you know what, we are tied up with a brand called Artistry. It's the number one in premium skincare brand. And I would love, what I can do is I can probably, come over sometime and show you a few free samples, give you a demo, and if you like it, then let's see where it goes. He said, yeah, for sure. And then we exchanged cards.
Very nice. Super, Marshall. Do you have another example of where you could do a successful DTM?
This is a very rare occasion. um, no, nothing. I do remember one, but the person didn't pick up my phone, so I don't know what went wrong there.
That's okay. Tell about it.
So I opened with, you know, I think I told, where did you get the jacket or something of that nature? And he laughed and he said he got it from Mexico, not from here. I'm like, oh, you must have gotten it much cheaper than here. He said, yeah, yeah, yeah. I told him, you know, it's crazy how expensive things are over here. And he agreed with me. And I said, so by the way, what do you do? And he worked at a software company or something like that. And I told him, yeah, I'm also actually an electrical engineer, and I'm moving into entrepreneurship with the help of someone really successful, and that's my goal in the next 5 years. And he said, oh, that's really impressive, but I am actually not that much into entrepreneurship. I've just recently taken up a new role as a manager, and I'm excited about that. I'm like, yeah, that must be really good, but does that have a lot of impact on your work life balance and things like that? He said, oh, I'm not married right now, and this is the time for me to put in with my company. They have invested a lot of time and money on my training, and I'm really excited to work on this. I'm like, yeah, that's interesting, but how do you keep your energy up? And he said, yeah, I work out and I believe in eating healthy. I said, yeah, I believe in eating healthy too, but believing is different and implementing is different. At least for me, I find it very difficult for me to eat a healthy diet. I mean, I don't know if it's true. That's how I told him, but I heard that we're supposed to have 5 to 10 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables every day. And then I laughed. He laughed as well. He said, "Yeah, there's no way, we can do that." And I said, "You know what? I'm dealing in an online business, and I actually have tie-up with a really good nutritional company. It's a nutritional supplementation company, and that's how I have managed to keep my energies up. I used to, face a lot of tiredness after work, and I could not do anything. But that has changed now, and now I'm able to, play basketball. I'm able to work out even after. So if I could, give you access to some of the best nutritional supplements, maybe you could try them out for a few days and see and give me your feedback. And he said, yeah, for sure, that would be something that would be really interested he would be interested in. I said, okay, then what I can do is, maybe if ever I'm coming in your area, I can maybe do an assessment and see what kind of supplements would help you. He said, yeah, sure. And then we exchanged numbers, but he didn't lift my call. So yeah.
Awesome, Marshall. That is absolutely marvelous. What I would like to do is, uh, I would like the rest of you, you can put your phones on unmute. How many of you can notice some things that you can pick up from the conversations that Marshall talked about? Some key observations that you have about how he did the conversations.
Yeah, Ankurji, Ashok here. So yeah, I can see. So Marshall, he's like he's talking naturally. He's not like much on technique, but he's talking naturally, and he's not in hurry. He's giving enough space, and he's flowing naturally. His conversations, and he's showing that confidence. So I think, and he's very dynamic about that conversation. So I say it is going very naturally for him. That's what I picked up.
Very good. That's correct. Okay. Anybody else?
Ice breaks are specific. It's not the general thing like the weather and all, but the specific like the shoes where you get them, whatever kind of about the and when talking about the business, he was talking about the nutrition and he was talking about the mentorship a lot.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah. So what I found, Ankur, is that he is very flow in the conversation, as well as he's good in his basics. He has done his homework, and I guess he is very thorough with the masawas. So there's no if and but, there's no break in that. So that gives the flow of the conversation. So.
This Jyoti. What I feel, yeah, he did his basics very right, and as and when it requires, like whom to propose business, drop the message, or whom to show the products as a demo, like the decision, like how, I mean, during the conversation, he can able to make that decision very swiftly. Like we cannot propose business to this guy, we can propose products to this guy, something like that. So that flow was very nice.
Correct. Okay. Anybody else? Talk about.
Yeah, I felt there's a like presence of mind. He's able to take the conversation either for business or for like for the retail side. So he's able to drag the conversations according to what the other people is responding, and he's not stopping. Anyway, he knows how to divert the conversation to any part of the business.
Yeah, I also felt the same. Like the products and business is like coming together in this conversation.
Okay, if somebody has a different observation, you can tell instead of repeating.
Yeah, the Ankurji. So I felt like whatever whenever he start, the end point is he's mentioning everyone that he has a goal for the 5 years to learn about the mentorship or like entrepreneurship, or he's just going that the way, like he's mentioning everywhere like he has a goal like 5 years. So there is like good. I see.
Okay, very good.
A lot play huddle happen. I can see that.
Okay, good. So very nice. I think there's a lot of things to pick up from the conversations. And
one disclaimer: the thing about products is only if I feel there's no use of talking to the person about business.
yes, but what is important is that you have to be able to understand that the person is no longer asking you or curious about what you do. If you keep pushing it, that is when you rub people the wrong way. The moment you realize the other person is not curious about what you do, though you have kind of made them aware of what's available. So you are picking up on what they like to do. So for example, the person who is running his own business, he's so excited about what he's doing. You could, if you push him further about another business and try to propose, then you are doing the biggest mistake of your conversation. And you can't even get something else out also. You cannot get artistry out, and you cannot get nutrition out. And you will actually spoil the relationship in that conversation. So that is very, very crucial. So just repeat the subway one once again, Marshall.
Yes. And also another disclaimer, like it's after a lot of conversations. So many conversations were very bad also. So just to keep that in mind.
Yes.
So this subway one was the one, okay, yeah. So the one that went really well. So I met this guy in the subway and I just asked him, do you know how much time it would take from here to the Don Mills subway station? So he said, yeah, he hasn't gone to the Don Mills subway station as such. He hasn't used the purple line, but he estimates around 30 to 35 minutes. Yeah, I said, yeah, that's okay, because I told like one of my friends is waiting for me there, and usually I'm driving, but I was just thinking of using the subway and see how it is. And then I said, you look like you're from somewhere around here. Like, where do you work? So he said, yeah, he's working at a company. I don't remember exactly which company. Uh, and he said, what about you? What are you doing? So I told him the same, Masawa, like I'm working as an electrical engineer, but I've recently, I'm transitioning into entrepreneurship with the help of someone really successful. And that is my goal in the next 5 years. And he said, wow, that's really interesting. What exactly are you doing? So I said, that's a good question. To tell you the truth, I met a couple about a few months back, and they changed the way they made money, and they were able to walk out from their jobs in their 30s. Can you believe that? Have you met anyone like that? So he said, no, he hasn't, heard of things like that. And he said, what exactly is it? So I told him, that is a good question, but why do you ask? Usually I either say, why do you ask? Or I say, it's an hour long, that's an hour long explanation. Or the third option is I say, that is not my information to give, depending on how I feel. So I said, yeah, that's a very good question, but why do you ask? Are you actually looking to do something? Or are you just a little bit curious? Or what is it? So he said, yeah, he is looking to do something where he is working. He doesn't, it's not in his field. And he has tried to apply to a lot of jobs, but, they have not uh, considered him qualified. And he really wants to do something. And I said, yeah, that's exactly how I felt. And what I can do. So I could just directly transition because I saw that he was looking. So I told him, you know what, my coach, he is very successful and he loves to coach young people to entrepreneurship, but he doesn't charge for his mentorship. So he has a strict qualification process, but every now and again he opens the door to others. So if I had, say, I'm talking to him 2 days from now, uh, if I can bring your name up, is that something you would like to take advantage of? So he said, yeah, for sure. He would love to. Uh, he would love to get to know more, and he would love to get into it. Like straight away, it was a green light. So then I said, okay, then the best thing I'll do is give me your number, and I will give you a call in 3 days from now after I talk to my coach. Now, don't get too excited. I cannot guarantee whether he's going to say yes or no. But if he says yes, then maybe we can sit down sometime and see what we can go on from there.
Very nice.